If you are a small business owner, then I would love to invite you to pay attention, take some notes, because today we're going to be talking about building a brand and not just making a sale. So also, if you're a small business owner, or if you're not and you're some small business owners, tag them in this video or share the video with them, whether it's privately or in a Facebook group, because the reason why I do this is so that you are getting the information and the right people are hearing this information. First of all, you might be asking yourself, what is a personal brand? Is essentially how people think, what it is that people think of when they think of you. And even though I was talking about if you own a business, this is important to you. The reason why is because technically, if you're a small business owner, it really is you and your name. At least it is in the beginning. That might change as your business grows, but in the beginning, it's all about you and whether or not people align with what you offer, your value, your product, your service. Now, more specifically, I help service business owners that provide some type of service. So if that's you, that's where Al-Aman Agency can help. And that's really what this content, this Facebook Live is all about, my service providers out here. So if that's you, pay attention. Okay, so there's a difference between creating a campaign and bringing in that quick sell versus a long-term strategy growth of building that brand. And why it matters is because these things, this brand of yours is going to follow you through your business. Even if you decide that you're switching, you're creating a new business, or you've sold your business and you're ready to move on, that brand, that personal brand, that'll stay with you. Because what it is it's the emotions, it's the value you provide. It's more than just a sale, or it's more than just a come on in today and receive 50% off of whatever service you provide. That is an offer. Having a strong offer is important, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about branding. Your brand, this is a long-term strategy. It's not something where you can click go live one time or two times and then boom, you've got a strong brand. It's the way that you're showing up for people again and again, and it's how they're going to describe you. Your audience is going to describe you when you're not around. So that's a couple of things. Also, you might be like, how is it that my brand is different than this other person's brand? That's one thing that a lot of people say. There's a lot of people that are, let's just say, real estate agents. There's a lot of real estate agents. There are, but that can be said for any industry out there. What's going to be different is you. Like, how are you showing up? How is it that you're providing value? How is it that your clients or your audience feels about you? Why are they going to recommend you or refer you, even if they've never worked with you before, over somebody else? That's where it comes down to that personal brand of yours. Okay, so we've got a couple more here. Just want to make sure you understand why it matters before I get into how you can start building that personal brand right away. All right, so another reason why it's really important is you need to be able to be relevant for your audience and your clients. So if I was just creating a campaign or doing some type of sell, right? Like we one of the things that we do here at Al-Aman Studio is we do headshots. That's like the biggest piece of our photography business is headshots. Now, if I said right now you get a session fee that is $297 versus $1197. That's great as long as you are actually wanting a headshot session. If that's not something that you are interested in right now, then nobody's really going to care. So if I'm going to be creating content, it needs to be content that is shareable and is helpful for my target audience. And so my target audience are business owners. And so when I'm creating content, I'm thinking about what is that life cycle? What is it that business owners right now are struggling with? And that really is, for a lot of business owners, staying in business. Right now with the pandemic and with the landscape has changed in terms of, especially if you're an in-person service provider, that's much different than maybe it was, last year, or more than last year, over a year ago. And so I want to create content that's going to be applicable and helpful for my target audience. So that's something I want you to consider is, what is that for you? Another reason why it matters is you're going to be able to, if you build that strong personal brand, you're going to be able to imprint the value offer that you have into the memory of your clients. And that's really important because the pandemic really showed us one thing, which is you don't want to be forgotten, because now they're getting their vaccines, they're ready to get out there, they're ready to start visiting places, being in person more. And if people aren't remembering you and they're just now going back to Google and searching, looking for a fitness center, looking for a real estate agent, then all that work that you've done many years ago is not paying off for you. But if you have that strong personal brand and you continue creating content so that you are top of mind for not just your clients, but for hundreds, if not thousands of people, because you're using social media and this amazing thing called the internet, not internet, then you're gonna see that it's paying off for you. Right now, somebody might go and look, if you've got a strong personal brand, my clients have strong personal brands. If anybody goes on their social media, on their social feed, they're gonna know exactly what they do, the value that they're going to get if they decide to work with them, and they're consistently in their target clients' feeds. They're fresh, their content looks great, they sound great, everything looks professional, people understand the value. And that's really important, is you wanna make sure that you're imprinting your value into their memory so that when somebody thinks of your industry or the thing you offer, immediately you're gonna come to mind. There's lots of ways you can do that, and we're gonna get into that really quickly here, or really soon. Emotions are embedded deeper than just facts. So that was something that emotions, if I'm just saying step 1, step 2, step 3, that's it, there's nothing else, like it's just a slide or it's just a graphic that you're sharing, and that's all you're doing, then there's nothing that's really connected behind that. Versus this right here video, if anybody's ever talked to me or met with me in person, you'll know that I'm a super duper passionate person, and that's gonna come through in my content, that's gonna come through in person. So the more you can do that, the more you can really put your passion or emotions, whether it's through storytelling, through videos, in photo content, whether that emotion is making them laugh, making them cry, empowering them. There's so many different emotions that you can do. Focus on that, and that's going to be really relevant when it comes to building that brand. There's a lot of people that you're following or that you think of. For example, if I say, who is it that you think of when I say motivation? Right off the bat, I'm just thinking Tony Robbins. When I say motivation, I think Tony Robbins. He has a very strong personality behind the way that he speaks, right? His body language, all of it. The way that he shows up online, the way he shows up on stage, all of it. So that's something that I want you to think of. Are you really embedding those emotions into your content, into that brand? If not, work on it. That's something that's really important. Okay, so let's talk about how you can actually do this stuff right now. If you are not doing it, I got some comments here. I want to make sure that, yes, people can see me. Yay, awesome. Thank you guys for letting me know that. Okay, so 5 ways that you can start doing that right now. The easiest way is the language and description of how you are speaking with your target clients. If you could have certain words that you have thought through beforehand, and you really start putting it across all of your social media, all of your marketing, all of your website, the words that you use in videos. For example, something that we use, don't copy it if you're a photographer, maybe you will, it's okay, you can copy it, is pixie dust. We don't use the word retouching. We don't use the word photoshopping. We don't like that language. All right, so part of our brand and part of the emotions that we build within our business is, we'll say, for example, someone's like, oh, hey, will you please Photoshop out that zip that decided to pop up right before my headshot, which, by the way, I don't know what's up with our skin. It always knows when you're about to do a headshot session, because that's the time it's like, it comes out. And so we'll stop and be like, hey, so first of all, we don't do photoshopping, we don't do any retouching here. And then their mouth slightly opens. They're like, wait a second, yeah, you do. I'm like, but don't worry, what we do is we actually have this little bag, and we have it behind our desk. We don't really pull it out, nobody can really see it. But in this bag, we've got some pixie dust. And so what we can do is we can take that pixie dust and we can just kind of sprinkle it over your photos, and then they're like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. And they get it, like they understand what it is that we're talking about. But we pixie dust our images. So that right there is just one piece of like our brand as a company, but really it started when I was doing everything by myself. So my personal brand, which is now morphed into this business brand, that we use is the language, how we're talking about things. And it could even just come into how you talk about your clients. So I knew for one pivot that I made, just to give you an example, is I used to say fun Yeah, fun and professional headshots. And what I ended up finding out is nobody wanted fun headshots. They wanted approachable and professional headshots. And so about 7 years ago, or 6 years ago, no, probably closer to 7, we ended up changing all the language across our website and how I was describing it when I would meet somebody. Everything was now approachable and professional headshots, right? Or professional but approachable. It's basically photos. When somebody sees your photo, they're gonna think, oh my gosh, I could go out and have some coffee with them and feel completely like they're my people. Because that's really what people wanted, and that's how people were actually describing their photos. They're like, oh my gosh, I look professional, and yeah, I still look approachable. I love it. And so we took that language and we put it into all of our content. So think of it. Just be really proactive and mindful of what are the words that you're using, and make sure that's going across all of your marketing and how you're actually describing your services. It'll start to become part of your brand. All right, number 2, story is so important because it allows you to relate and connect with your ideal clients. Okay, so if you can think of some stories that have happened that might have absolutely nothing to do with your business, but then just find that little string to tie it back in, then it's going to help build that personal brand, because people are going to start repeating those stories that you've told, and yet it's still connected to your business. Okay, so it helps them relate to you. It helps them connect to you. Like a story that I will often tell is when I first started my business here in Virginia, we started off with, like, our origin story with LMS Studio is we started off with absolutely nothing. If we want to talk about not rags to riches, but essentially like we didn't inherit anything. We built it all from the ground up with our community and with your support, obviously. But military family, we moved from Georgia. We had $7 in our checking account combined. Lived with my mom for the first 3 months. Didn't even think about getting our own place until I had a studio, because it was that important to me, because I knew having this business was going to be the catapult to the rest of our lives. And so that was my priority, is getting our studio. And then I hustled to bring those clients in. I went to the Loudoun Chamber of Commerce. Shout out to the Loudoun Chamber of Commerce. I connected at a whole bunch of BNI network events. Great networking events, by the way, if you're ever thinking of it, especially to make those connections when you're launching your business, or if you're trying to get the feel for other business owners and connect with them. Great places to go. Anyways, so I started there, made connections. I had amazing offers to get people in the door, and then I really built up my clientele from that. All right, so that's a story essentially. And so I'm able to connect with other business owners who have also, hey, me too. I started from absolutely nothing. And now here I am, hopefully thriving with this amazing business where I'm able to support so many people and help bring whatever it is that you offer out into the world. Okay, so storytelling is really important. So if you can start wrapping that up into your content, whether it's your marketing, your website, or your social media posts, wherever you can, start off with a story. All right, and then like your vibe. I used to make fun of that word. I'm like, what is a vibe? Like, that sounds like a vibe. I'm like, that's what I used to think. Is that even right? I don't know. But what I've really found, it's really like the feeling that comes across when you look at photos and videos, or even copywriting, your website, your Instagram, your Facebook. How does that feel? I'm about to show you an example here of how it can change. So here, and I'm not saying one is worse than the other, but just so you can see. All right, so you can see right here, I've got 3 different versions of my Instagram. The first one is actually through our planning app because they haven't been scheduled yet. But you can see how that one looks. This is the latest one. The first one is the one that's going to be going out here in the next month because they're all scheduled. You can see how that's a little more muted, right? Shout out to Marlis for helping me find some clothes that actually look coherent and nice together for the feed. Whereas that second one, the middle one of our Instagram feed, it had a whole bunch of that yellow, like my shirt, a little bit more vibrant. I really like yellow, so I thought, since I really like yellow, it should be like everywhere. Not the case though. I don't think it should be. And so that's one version. If you scroll on my Instagram, you'll be able to see where I was in my yellow kick. And then the third one, that was essentially like when I first started my Instagram. You can see where it's just a mishmash of just a whole bunch of stuff. But when it comes to that vibe and that feel, your personal brand, why it's important is because you want people to feel that emotion. You want people to know what is it that you're about. What are the feelings? Even if they don't know what you're about, there should be a feeling that you can right off the bat help people associate with you, with your name, with your business. And you can do that through photos and videos. All of your content, but especially through photos and videos. And then just being a little more mindful in how you're planning that. All right, and if you're stuck right now and you're like, I have no idea where to get started, FYI, we do that in Alamon Agency. So just a quick little plug there. Check it out, alamonagency.com, or just message me and we can have a conversation to see if we would be able to help you. Moving on here. All right, so let's talk about how you can actually get started right now. If you have any questions, please ask them and I will get to your question. Otherwise, I'll reply back later. And in terms of like when you're creating content, share that content, share that value with people. Like, so for Alamon Studio, we want to help small businesses with marketing, with getting the name out there, with branding. That's really important because that's the long-term business growth. And then there's a lot of other things that we can do as well, but really that's where we're focused on. And then the last thing, or the number 6 is a bonus, is what is it that you're providing? And this is such a great question. I want you to do like this little exercise activity here. If you had a room full of 100 people, what is it that you would teach them? Or what would you do for them? Maybe you wouldn't teach them anything. Maybe you're really funny and you were like, no, I would entertain them. Or I'm a comedian, or I'm really good at showing people how to do things, or I'm really good at inspiring people or empowering people. There's a lot of people that I know that are really great at inspiring and empowerment, and so maybe that's their value offer. So I want you to think about that. What is that thing that you would be able to share with other people that would really excite them, that when they left that room, they would be like, oh my gosh, that was such a good use of my time. Because that's what I want you to start creating. When it comes to building that personal brand, I want you to really start focusing on that type of content, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, your blog, it doesn't matter. The more mindful you can be and proactive and really thinking about the content, the better it's going to come out. Versus if you're just doing the things that you see other people doing, it's not as helpful because you're not taking into account all your gifts that you've been blessed with, or your knowledge or your story that you are able to maybe share with the world. And I don't mean just sharing your story with the world on its own again and again, but we all have a different history and background that we come from. And so if we can tie that into how we're delivering our message, or how it is that we're educating or entertaining or empowering or inspiring other people, then that's what makes it unique and different and sticky. When it comes to like that sticky brand, that's what you really want. You want people to remember you. So take that into account. And then this is like the little bonus here, is your color, your font, your graphics, the design, all of that stuff is really good as well, because people are it's going to be more memorable. Remember when I showed you the screen? Let's see if it'll let me get to it here. Maybe of my Instagram, like those are completely different. Like the colors are different and it just feels different between the 3 different versions. So that's something that's really important when it comes to just as simple as coloring, or even like your fonts. I've seen fonts where it looks like a 6-year-old wrote it. And there's definitely nothing wrong with that, because that's like a fun, quirky, young, maybe it's like a preschool maybe if you're like a preschool or young educational center, that might be fun and it would resonate with people. But if you're like, no, I'm a boss babe and I'm like talking to hip 30, 40-year-olds, that might not connect with them. And so just having that as something that you're thinking about would be really helpful when it comes to building that personal brand. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments here. Otherwise, what I'm going to end up doing is I actually have a bonus that I wanted to show you. Really, it's a photo. We're going to be announcing our Mother's Day photo sessions coming up soon. And I just wanted to shout out, if you know LaTanya, I want you to tag her, and I want her to see, because she hasn't actually seen this yet. And shout out to Stephanie. She shot this image here at Alamon Studio. She is one of our amazing photographers. She's also the studio manager. And okay, you guys have to tell me though, which one you think. Hang on, let's see. What do you guys think? Should we do black and white or color? What are your thoughts? Oh, black and white, or I don't know. I don't know which one's my favorite because I love them both. I love both of those pictures. But let me know, which one you think, black and white or color? Let me know in the comments which one you vote, because we're gonna be using it for our campaign. Love them both. I think they're so beautiful. Okay, my friends, I hope you have an amazing week. If there's any questions I can help you answer, or if you want to talk about your own business that you have to see whether or not we can help you, because I would love to say we can, but let's just talk. Even if we can't, I would love to send you over some resources or connect you to other people that might be able to help you. So have a wonderful day. Thank you as always for your time. That is the most precious thing that you have, is your time. And I hope you have an amazing week. And I will see you next week. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye.